shoulder flexion isometric hold. So we're going to be doing this for connective tissue architecture. We're going to be increasing your connective tissue architecture. So we're going to be isometrically holding your shoulder in flexion at its close to its end range, and we're going to be doing it for a period of 2 minutes. So if you are doing this because you are hypermobile, then we're going to get you into a position that's roughly sort of 10 to 15 degrees past your active range. I don't want you to go all the way to the end of your passive range because you probably won't be able to have enough strength in the tissue to be able to do that. That will obviously continue to come as we progress. If you are not hypermobile, then what you're going to do is get into position and just get right to the end of your passive range and just come out by an inch. So I'll just show you that one either way first. So what I've done here is obviously I'm just laying on a bench here. I'm holding, you can hold anything. Obviously you can use a kettlebell, a weight, or whatever. I'm holding an ankle weight here. So I'm going to get to shoulder flexion, and I don't have hypermobility. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to let this drop down to that's my passive range, but I don't want my body just doing this for me. So that's my passive range. So now I'm just going to lift out about an inch. So now I'm actively having to hold it here. But one way that I'm going to be able to cheat as I do this is, you can see I already am, my spine is nice and flexed. So as you do this, make sure your entire spine and back is flat on this bench. Otherwise, you're going to end up having to get so much range of motion here, it won't really work. And it's a way that you can cheat while you're doing it and you won't know. So make sure you actually feel all of your spine nice and straight, as I've done here. That's the end of my range. I'm now just going to come up about an inch. This is where the time starts, and I'm going to hold this for 2 minutes, and I'm going to come to pretty much failure. Obviously, your program will give you a percentage of that. Now notice I've got a kettlebell here. The reason for that is just from a safety perspective. When I do this, I don't want my hand a foot in the air, because if I get to the end and I'm actually going to failure and I kind of overcook myself, I don't want to be dropping at that point. I don't want all this stuff on stretch and then giving out. Worst case scenario here, I give out, I just fall an inch, no big deal. This is particularly important if you're hypermobile because you won't have the same sensation. So hypermobile, what I want you to do is actively get to the end of your range, and then let's say I get to here, that's the end of my range, then I'll drop 10 or 15 and then hold it there. So rather than going to the end and then coming back an inch, just go to your active range and then down about 10 or 15 degrees, and then same thing, flat back and hold here. Even more important for you to make sure that however you set this up, you've got it so that your hand's only sort of an inch or a couple of inches off the floor. I mean, you could use a kettlebell. This is a 12 kilo kettlebell. I can't do that, it's too freaking heavy. But if you had a lighter kettlebell and that's what you were using, that would just be fine, because then the bottom of the kettlebell's touching the floor. But either way, that's it. So shoulder flexion, hold it for 2 minutes, enjoy.